Tonight, CBC News has learned new details of the state of trade negotiations between Canada and the U.S. and why they're hitting a wall. Washington is willing to pull back on auto tariffs, but overall not budging enough while demanding concessions. The threatened 50% U.S. tariffs on billions of dollars of Canadian goods kick in less than 5 days from now. The message from the U.S. Trade Representative: American tariffs are fair and the country won't tolerate Canadian retaliation to them. The U.S. Trade Representative was in Iowa today touting the Trump administration's trade policies. Kate McKenna was there too with pressing questions ahead of a critical weekend.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer touring this tire factory in the Midwest.
Ambassador Greer, great to see you.
And promoting his message that tariffs are saving U.S. jobs after a week of negotiations with Canadian officials to get a new trade deal.
I'm wondering, from your perspective and from the Trump administration's perspective, how are negotiations going between Canada and the U.S.?
We're having what I would call constructive negotiations with the Canadians. At the end of the day, President Trump and the United States, we're going to do what is best for America. If there's a way to bring Canada along with that, we're happy to do that.
But Greer says there's still a big gap between both sides and warns should Canada retaliate if new tariffs take effect next week, there will be repercussions.
If a country retaliates against us, we're obviously not going to tolerate that. We'll take action.
On Friday, U.S.-Canada Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc briefed the provinces and territories, saying Americans are digging in and not budging from their positions on sectoral tariffs and irritants like Canada's dairy quota system.
There is a blitz, an ongoing blitz of negotiations in Washington, D.C., and we need to make sure that the federal government will not put forward the idea of modifying the supply management for the dairy system.
Canada will weather this storm, and we're facing the storm head on and trying to navigate a course through the hurricane of the Trump administration.
Over the last few days, optimism on the Canadian side has really eroded. Yeah, people who were in the briefing say that the Americans are not willing to meaningfully reduce sectoral tariffs and that their position hasn't really changed over the last couple of days. For example, they're willing to go down to 12.5% on auto, but for Canada, that's not good enough. Now Canada's key focus is finding a way to avoid next week's tariffs from taking effect.